The self-service password request feature in connected mode relies on access to Evidian EAM web service. This web service can be implemented directly on an EAM controller or through Apache. Evidian recommends to use the web service of the EAM controller in order to avoid update of the Apache component. To protect the access to the web service from either of these components, you will have to define the SSPR account used with the web service, implement the certificate and associated trust certifications to access the web service in HTTPS. Note that the EAM solution provides the element to generate a certificate and trust certification for test purposes. This tutorial will cover both the implementation and usage of the web service from the EAM controller, web service, or Apache. Before starting, you must make sure that the technical account referenced on the EAM controller has the right to reset user's Windows password in the domain. You must also have a dedicated user account used as an SSPR account in order to perform operations within the Evidian's solution and in the directory. This Windows account doesn't require any specific rights in the Active Directory domain. Being member of domain user is enough, but the corresponding password must never expire. This account must exist before starting the installation procedure. From the EAM console, whether it is installed on a workstation or from the EAM controller, and authenticated with an EAM administrator account, do the following. Select in your directory the user account that will be used exclusively for the self-service password request feature. You must delegate administration rights to your self-service password request account. In order to do so, go to Administration and click on Delegate. Then click on Add in the administration profiles. Delegate the following administration rights: directory browsing, self-service password request answer deletion, challenge generation, reset, and user password modification. Select the administration profile and apply. In order to initialize the administration context for the self-service password request account and to check that administration rights are properly applied, authenticate once with this account in the EAM console and perform a reset of a password for a Windows user account. Go to the Account and Access Right Management menu and select the user you wish to reset a password. In the connection window, click on the Password tab and fill in a new password for your test user. As you can see, I have reset my password correctly. This means my SSPR account has been properly configured. Now, we'll see how to configure the EAM web service on an EAM controller. To allow the SSPR feature to use the web service embedded in the EAM controller, make sure the web service port of the EAM controller, by default 9765 HTTPS protocol, is authorized by firewalls. Note that a rule is automatically set on Windows Integrated Firewall if it is used. First of all, in the Administration Tools window, click Define Administrator Credentials for Self-Service Password Request. If you have chosen the software protection mode, select Software Credentials and fill in the Software Credentials area with the credentials of the dedicated user account allowed to manage self-service password requests. Then, go to Controller Configuration and click Configure Security Settings. The Controller Configuration window appears. Select the Web Service Security tab. From this window, you can select and configure the certificate file and associated key files, as well as the certification path and the validation file that were generated by your enterprise PKI. If the certification file is password protected, select the corresponding checkbox and enter the password. The Evidian solution can also generate a test certificate by clicking the Generate button. This is the configuration that is used for this tutorial. Now let's see how to install an EAM web service with an Apache server. If you intend to install an EAM web service with Apache on a dedicated server that has no other Evidian EAM components installed, you will first need to configure this server with Evidian licenses and configuration link to your EAM solution. From the administration tool, use Configure Workstation action. Once you have configured the server, define administrator credentials for self-service password request. Now click Install EAM Web Server. To use the self-service password request server with Authentication Manager in connected mode, select the Web Service checkbox. The IIS checkbox is automatically disabled. Click the Install or Update button to launch installation. Once the Apache server is installed, you will find in the specific path the web server certificate file, associated key files, and the root certificate files that were automatically generated for test purposes. You can replace those files by certificate information that were generated by your enterprise PKI. Restart Enterprise Access Management web server in order to take into account the changes. Thank you for following this tutorial on how to initialize and secure the self-service password request module for connected mode.